So, let's get right into it, huh? So, you're all familiar with Sonic the Hedgehog if you're watching this video. Why wouldn't you be? If you're not, then you'll be super confused watching this, but whatever. Anyways, I love this franchise. It's almost been a part of my entire life. But there's one problem that's been bothering me ever since I revisited a little game called Sonic Colors. Well, the writing. Also the game, but I'll get into that some other day. For example, here's like a cutscene from Sonic Heroes.
Sonic, you sure this is the right way?
I saw Shadow and Eggman head this way. This has gotta be the right way.
But it's so spooky here.
Maybe that's the ghost of Shadow we saw earlier.
Woo! Stop it, Knuckles.
And then here's a cutscene from Sonic Colors.
Okay, ask away.
Who are you, and what is happening to your people?
Okay, he says his name is Talks a Lot, and he's from a faraway soda, and where flowers water them with dances.
Yeah, I think your machine still has some bugs.
Yeah, I think I can figure this out, though. Okay, he said his name is Yacker. He's from a race of beings called Wisps.
Lisps?
No, Wisps, with a W.
Yeah, I'll just stick with aliens if that's okay with everybody.
Oh, sure. So anyway, they're either being used for their magical powers by an evil man, or to make underwear to be worn by Salad. I just hear save them, over and over.
When I was running around trashing robots, I saw a map that had a couple of interesting places. I think I'll go check them out, and maybe save some aliens.
It's quite the difference, isn't it? Now, I could just end the video here, but I don't think this is enough to really drill into the point on how bad the writing has gotten. And I want to look into it more and explain my thoughts and why I feel it's gotten worse over the years. So, let's take a deeper dive into this, shall we? So, we begin with the Adventure Era, which was Sonic's first edition into 3D. With a new dimension, it meant not only they had to make new designs for the characters, but they had to give them voices to really show their personalities. Now, I get they could have gone a different route. They could have done what Mario has been doing for years at this point and just not really do any voice acting, resorting to just text and a few voice clips like Yahoo here and there. But imagine how weird that would be with Sonic.
Yes! Ah! Here we go!
It doesn't feel right at all, doesn't it? So they gave the Sonic casts voices for the first time. Some characters don't have the best voices in Adventure 1.
Everything's working great! All systems go, full speed ahead! Uh-oh, what's this?
and the deliveries can be wonky here and there, but I feel everyone did a pretty good job for their first attempt, and these issues will be mostly fixed by Adventure 2, for the most part. So it's nothing huge. But this isn't about the voice acting of the games, it's about the writing. So how's it fare in these games? It's pretty good if you ask me. You get the feeling that the characters really know each other, like a group of friends. Sonic and Tails have that sibling dynamic, Sonic and Knuckles have the fighting buddies dynamic, and Sonic and Shredder are opposites, but they still have like some sort of bond going on, like they can get along together if they had to. But I could go on and on, but just not everyone here feels like they have a real bond going together, something the later games seem to forget. Not to mention, every character has their own arcs and they grow out through the games. The most notable ones to me being Tails, Shadow, Amy even, but I don't have time to talk about that, so maybe I'll detail in another video. Anyways, as I mentioned before, you get the feeling that everyone knows each other. Or they just have real chemistry. Hell, as weird as Heroes was with its plot, like Shadow being a copy and having amnesia, Knuckles just forgetting about the Master Emerald for some reason, each separate team felt like they were all good friends, or they at least knew each other well enough and they could get along together well, further shown by the cutscenes. I wish more people talked about these cutscenes, man. I love these cutscenes I played before some levels in Heroes. It's just a really cool thing to see each separate team talk about what happened before the level starts. It's nothing groundbreaking, obviously, but it's a small detail that goes a long way, you know? Especially for someone like me. I also love the cutscenes I played before the rival team battles. Like, sure, these battles are underwhelming as all hell. You could beat them like in 30 seconds if you really wanted to. But it's really cool and fun to see all these characters interact with each other. Even if these rival cutscenes go from 0 to 100 like super quick for some reason.
Who's this broad?
Also the little things like the dialogue during the stage. Sure, it can get annoying sometimes, but it has some genuine character interactions here and there. And the little animations that play when you beat a stage, it's just perfect, dude. Lastly, I feel these games tend to have a great balance of tone. Sure, it can be lighthearted at one point and then it can be serious without feeling super jarring and out of nowhere, or being too corny to the point of embarrassment. The plots may be convoluted, but you'd be surprised how well it works with a game like this. But it does have its faults, like I said, like the cutscenes didn't age well at all in the adventure games, obviously, as you can see in the footage right here, or the couple of corny lines Sonic gives in Heroes.
Okay then, let's get ready to do this. We'll show that creep the real superpower of teamwork!
But all in all, I really love this era's writings. Despite its fault, it still has its great moment at heart, and I feel like almost anyone can enjoy this. It might be hard to believe, but it's actually possible to make a serious plot with a blue hedgehog. Keep this in mind. Now, I originally did not want to talk about the 4Kids era because I felt like there wasn't really much to talk about aside from the voice actors. But upon revisiting these games, there's still some things to talk about, so let's just make it quick, huh? And no, this does not involve 06, because that story is convoluted as hell and it's another can of worms I will get into one day. I don't know, maybe not, but you get the idea. And the less said about that scene, the better. So, around Unleashed, the main writer from Adventure 2 to 06, Mike Kawashiro, had left or got fired, I don't remember, and Unleashed story was written by Yoshimura Kyoko, who co-wrote 06 and some episodes of Sonic X as well. And while I have gripes with Unleashed plot, mainly liking way too many beats from Adventure 1, like Eggman reads about a monster and it's being unleashed, get the Chaos Emerald, Sonic, I still think the writing fares well. Unleashed is the start of the games mostly being Sonic centered and focusing less on the side characters, or not at all. Which, it's not that bad in Unleashed, it works fine, but I do miss some of them. The inclusion of Tails and Amy does help. However, there's another factor that I feel gets way worse in later games, and it starts from here. See, Eggman and Tails. Well, in Unleashed, Tails is nowhere near as bad as, well, that. But I feel like it is kind of a cop-out where he's introduced, like instead of Tails being scared, why not, when he sees all those dark guy minions, why not show him at his limits, outnumbered, and then flying away? Or even better, have the Werg just show up and transition into gameplay. I know I'm stretching it, but imagine how cool that would be. As for Eggman, this is where he starts becoming more of a comedic villain, which I feel is fine in general, but it also feels like a cop-out where in a plot where the entire world is split apart, especially when Dark Guy turns on him, just like Sonic Adventure. It feels, kind of like a kick to the balls. This is also the start of the games ignoring the other characters. While I do understand this move to make the focus more on Sonic, I personally don't like this change. I know Sonic has like 20 million friends, but I personally like seeing a few of them come back, at least for a cameo or something, Is it too much to ask for some characters to make an appearance? Sadly, this change would just get worse and worse as time goes on. I'd also mentioned how I would change the Werehog to be separate from Sonic, but this video isn't about Unleashed, so... let me just put it on my list right over here. But aside from a few gripes, I do enjoy the 4Kids era writing as well. It's definitely not as good as the Adventure era, but it has its moments too. And these aren't mainline games, but I would also recommend watching the cutscenes of the Starbuck games as well. God forbid you actually try to play Secret Rings. Anyways, on to... Starting with colors, the tones, the plots of the game will be very lighthearted. In colors, it's simple. Sonic and Tails will go to Eggman's amusement park, and they have to free the aliens he's capturing. It's a very simple story, but it can still work. But here's the problem. At least the console version, the Wii version, it doesn't do much with this. Most of these cutscenes just consist of the characters talking, which I wouldn't even mind, but the dialogue isn't very good. Yeah, it just consists of jokes most of the time, and most of them just come from Sonic with his annoying voice. Seriously, Sonic is constantly firing unfunny jokes, like a high school jock or something. I especially hate the insults Sonic uses towards Eggman, like baldy nose hair and eggster in this game. Like, it's not even funny. What happened to Eggman? That was perfectly fine. Why'd you get rid of it? Sonic actually had wit in the adventure games too.
You're pretty persistent for a hedgehog, aren't you? You're still alive.
Just letting Knuckles pilot the shuttle on the way over here was more dangerous than you could ever be.
Let's not even get into how the other characters were written as well. Like, for example, as I already mentioned, Sonic is just annoying as hell now. His new voice doesn't help at all, and it's about such knee slappers to big robots like...
No copyright alone, the universe is gonna stop me.
Tails is just relegated to do nothing but tinkering with his translator because that's what his character is. He's smart. Coupled with a bunch of bad jokes as well, but not as much as Sonic. And I also don't like how it feels like a total cop-out when he's excluded from the final battle against Eggman. Though again, I guess it's somewhat saved by the fact that Sonic does it to keep him safe, but it doesn't leave the part out where he gets mind control, only for Eggman to run out of energy because, we can't make a Tails boss battle. Keep this in mind for Lost World, by the way, because it'll get much worse by then. And Eggman, he's basically now the comedic villain, which isn't a bad idea, but if you ask me personally, I like to keep a balance. Like, you can have Eggman be comedic here and there, but if you lean too much into comedic side, then how do I take him seriously as the main big bad villain? Especially before the final boss, where he makes a lame joke.
It can't be!
Leaving so soon! There are no lines, and I've saved the best rides for last! At least let me stamp your hand so you can come back in!
I know you're trying to be clever with this whole amusement park pun thing, but it's just coming off lame. So just say you're going to destroy us and stop embarrassing yourself.
Curse you, Sonic! Not only do you foil my plans, but you foil my speeches as well! I work hard on them!
Well, where's the Sonic Adventure 2, where he literally scratches his ass in one cutscene, but then in a couple of cutscenes later, he straight up just kills Sonic. At least I could take him seriously. And also, Cubot and Robot exist. I can stand Robot. He's pretty much the same as ever as Unleashed, but Cubot really shouldn't have a reason to exist. His entire gimmick in this game is just, I have a really annoying voice. Please laugh over and over. Like, it really should have just been Orbot keeping Eggman in check like he did in Unleashed. And other than that, that's about it for colors. Yeah, I'm being serious. That's it. For a game taking place in an amusement park, shouldn't there be more, people? Why not use the stylized humans from Unleashed? Hell, why not the other characters from the previous game? It would make sense they would come to the amusement park after all, but that doesn't happen. And as a result, the whole park feels empty, at least to me. Sure, it looks amazing and fun, but what's the point of a park if you're like the only ones there? Oh wait, hold up, there's more. Sonic friends are in the park, but in the DS version. Sure, it's just cameos, and seeing Blaze not playable kinda stings, but that's way more than the console version ever did. You get these fun interactions like Rouge tricking Knuckles into coming into the park by sending a letter as Eggman? But yeah, it's just text and images, but it's a DS game. I'm not sure what you're expecting. The fact that they took the time to add these cameos is a nice detail. It at least makes the whole park feel like an actual park. On top of the DS version, the dog is much better here too. Sonic isn't always making unfunny jokes all the time, and everyone here acts more in character. Not as much as the other games like Adventure 1 or 2, but it's nice. Though some scenes still carry over from the console version that I didn't like the pointless mind control scene. And Tails being silent in the final battle still kinda stings, but it's far from the worst the DS version has to offer. But in short, if you want a good story from Colors, then you're really gonna only get it out of the DS version. It has its flaws, yes, but I would take this version's story over the console version any day. Thanks, Dimps. Now, Generations was the game celebrating Sonic turning 20. It was a big time and a big game. The game was great, celebrating Sonic's history with so much care and callback. It's also the only boost from a game I enjoy. Ha, I know, controversial, whatever. But anyways, how does the plot fare? Well, do you even have to ask? It's not as bad as the other games, keep that in mind. Before a big anniversary game, it sure does suck, honestly. This pretty much shares the same problem as Color's story for me. It's a decent premise, but they don't do anything with it, like literally. Most of the cutscenes, again, just amount to Sonic and Tails talking about what happened or the level, and it's just boring. It doesn't know that classic Sonic is mute, which makes no sense because classic Tails and Robotnik can talk for some reason, but not classic Sonic. And speaking of Tails, the modern and classic variants just stand there and they just do nothing. Like all they do is just serve as exposition, or they just describe what happened like you can't figure it out. Like, couldn't you make them do more? And while Sonic's friends being present is nice, the choice doesn't really make sense to me, honestly. Would have been great to see the battle on Rouges, maybe even Mighty, Ray, Knack. This list is getting pretty big, isn't it? Anyways, they don't do anything either. When you free them, they just say pretty much nothing, or they just see classic Sonic go, "Wow, you sure do look different, Sonic." They just feel so robotic, like the rise just sitting by Sonic's friends, and they don't try to flesh them out like the other games. And don't get me started on the Time Eater. Aside from...
Let's take the enemy out together! Careful, Sonic!
Switch and go after it!
It's attacking!
Look out! It's a walking orb attack!
They just stand there. It's not like they helped against Metal Overlord and Heroes. Why can't we get something similar with that for Time Eater? Instead, they just spout annoying lines and cheer you on. Time Eater origin is also just lame. Eggman just finds him after his failure in Colors, and he uses him to alter time or something. It feels like such an asshole, like all the other games Pontic and Graf wrote. But if there's one thing I do like about these cutscenes, I guess it's the boss and rival battles. Each of these have these sick intros that are always a treat to look at, and it really captures that, big 20th anniversary feel at least. That last cutscene with the two Eggmen stuck in a void is also nice, I suppose. Probably the best cutscene, and the only one that probably made me laugh in this game. But, reminder, it can get so much worse.
Hey, Sonic! Enjoy your future! It's gonna be great!
Oh boy. This game. Where do I even begin? Well, this game was apparently where Pontic and Graf had full control in terms of the story. And man, it really does show, huh? This game has a damn identity crisis over if it wants to be serious or not. Like in one scene, Sonic will be all,
Whew, that was cool. Pun entirely intended.
and in the scene right after, it's,
I will burn your world, you rebellious scum! I will destroy everything you love and make you rot! No!
Boss, your hands!
As long as I can still strangle a Zeti, my hands are fine.
and it really does suck, because if you take moments like these out of context,
Amy? Knuckles? Anybody?
They aren't even that bad, it's just stuck in Lost World, with context just stupid and jarring. And let's not forget the characters. The most weirdest change is Tails. He has like a whiny tantrum coming out of nowhere in the middle of the game.
Whoa, overcompensate much? Man, how many military factories does a guy need?
If you weren't always destroying them, I wouldn't need so many.
And done!
Thanks for fixing me.
No problem. Sorry you got stuck with a voice chip that looks like it was built by a 2-year-old.
I think I liked it better when I was trying to destroy you.
Yeah, well, feelings mutual, egg face.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Before we start destroying each other, let's remember why we're working together.
Okay, please remind me.
Tails, we need Eggman to shut down his machine.
And you don't trust me to do it.
What? No! I trust you, Tails. It's just that...
No, you don't. You trust Eggman more. Do you know how much that bites?
I do trust you, Tails, but the whole world's in danger because I did something stupid. Do you know how much that bites?
Actually, nothing bites more than having to listen to this dreadful conversation.
Eggman, you bite!
And it's not only super out of character, but there's like zero build up to this, so it's just super jarring when it does happen. It comes out of nowhere. But if you ask me, this whole thing really just flops during Sonic's character arc, if you can really call it that. After Silent Forest Zone 1, Sonic falls for a trap, and Tails gets captured as a result because he has to save Sonic. And it results in the good old line,
I'm supposed to be the fastest, but I was too slow to save my buddy.
Again, this feels like super forced. What was the point of this? To teach Sonic he shouldn't jump without thinking after he destroyed the cons like, I don't know, 3 zones ago? He should have learned this already? Or to tell us about how much Sonic cares for his buddy and best friend Tails, something that feels so fake since Colors? Speaking of Sonic, he's damn near unbearable in this game, even worse than Colors and Generations. Not only does he destroy the conch and get everyone to this whole mess because he didn't think before moving, but he also wants to do it again with Eggman's machine after the whole ordeal. And even after he gets everyone to a whole mess, he's still being an annoying jock over it. Sonic wasn't always the smartest one by any means, but he still had some common sense. He didn't go around smashing things because it's Eggman's. He's also such a whiny brat, like on top of throwing playground level insults. When Tails does get captured, he just stands there. It's even worse when he finds out what Zavok plans to do, and rather than chase after him, he just whines about it.
They're gonna turn Tails into a robot! That's horrible!
Oh, I don't know. Being a robot's not so bad.
From where I'm sitting, it is a nightmare. Who thought that putting this bucket brain's head on me was a good idea?
Like it's Tails, he's your best friend. Why are you standing there? Go! Save him! Also, Amy and Knuckles are here, as pointless as ever. And man, do I even have to get niched into the missed opportunities? There's way too much to list in this segment, so I'll focus on the worst one to me, Tails Robot. So remember that whole mind controlling thing in Colors? It's that all over again, but even worse. Again, this concept sounds cool, like the Colors Brainwash segment again, except they did nothing with it. Again, it's built up as if Sonic has to face the consequences of his actions, with Eggman even sacrificing himself. But it's just another fake out. Couldn't even get a gameplay segment of Tails fighting Deadly Six. Like imagine if you actually got to fight Tails, or even take on a Deadly Six together with Tails. Imagine how cool that would be. And a Deadly Six, man, these guys are such a waste. You could have made them the leaders of each zone, being controlled by Eggman, have citizens in each zone suffering, and have Sonic helping them. It would make the Lost X seem more of a world and not just some sort of asshole for the sake of having levels. Instead, we get 6 characters that can be each summarized in one word each. Fat, crazy, master, leader, girl, and emo. Also, while we're at it,
Don't you think that list is long enough already?
moving on, Eggman sacrificing himself. It was stupid. It could have been cool if he actually did that, but we all know they want to just kill off Sonic's main villain. So we just get a cop out and they say, oh, he had a jetpack and a spare robot, which was totally not a rehash of the Colors final boss. Boom, underwhelming final boss battle. But yeah, this game is just a total mess in terms of plot. But if we're talking about the real bottom of the barrel, then brace yourself. So, remember when I said Lost World was an identity crisis in terms of story? Well then, Sonic Forces would be the embodiment of wasted opportunities, or potential. So, while Lost World couldn't decide whether it wanted to be serious or not, Forces wants to be serious, but it does the equivalent of slipping on a banana peel and dying. Forces could have been a good story. Yeah, sure, it's darker than before, but keep in mind, Adventure 2 had no problem with Eggman literally holding Amy hostage and supposedly killing Sonic. And it wasn't afraid to talk about darker tones without feeling super jarring. So Eggman winning shouldn't be that hard to pull off, right? But as you can tell, they do nothing with it. Eggman has taken over the world and everyone has banded together, yet it feels like they aren't doing anything at all. Sure, the game will tell us that they're doing something, but it's never shown at all. This ultimately makes that cutscene where they all go to war really underwhelming, not counting the laughable animation. On top of the characters, why not add more? Given the scope, I think there should be more. The current roster could be fine, but why not add...
Bro, seriously?
Okay, so the big one, the avatar. Good lord, the avatar. I understand, this is the best part of the game to the people. The customization was nice and I really did like it to an extent, but otherwise I pretty much hated it. It just makes the whole story feel like a Sonic X self-insert OC fanfic you would write when you were 12 or something. And in my opinion, the avatar should have been a robot that was rewired to act like a good robot, other than Eggman's robot. It was a much better idea. Could have been like a cool arc about the robot overpowering his own creator, and then Infinite sees the robot and they question his loyalty when they battle. Like, imagine that. And classic Sonic is just pointless. Like, he does next to nothing. He's also just tacked on at the last minute because of Mania. Hell, the Mania team even plays when he's introduced.
Wait, what? Oh, you're that Sonic from another dimension, aren't you?
And let's not forget how botched the characters are, some even worse than before. Sonic is the same as ever since Colors, but man, his constant joking is just really hitting a nerve here. If you make the mistake of leaving the in-level dialogue on, which you probably have, then you'll be greeted to such amazing dialogue as...
There's sand everywhere! Green Hill's looking a lot more like Sand Hill right now.
And the other dialogue isn't much better either, just characters just giving exposition, like what happened to their personality, what's happening. And let's not forget, Sonic making that Sand Hill joke. Why? Your favorite spot is destroyed. Show actual concern for once. Why would you make jokes at a time like this?
Oh god, it's horrible. Guess your town's looking like a genocide zone now, huh? What the fuck?
Tails is the worst here, obviously, as everyone has probably said before, becoming a complete coward in this game. He does literally nothing when Sonic is getting the ever-living shit beat out of him.
Nice.
Tails, I need to know what's going on with this guy.
I'm trying, Sonic, but these readings are all messed up. They don't make any sense.
Run out of time here, Tails!
And let's not forget the famous scene.
Whoa, chaos! Sonic, help me!
Which again, it doesn't make any sense because he literally beat a much more powerful Chaos 4 in Adventure 1. I also love how Knuckles mentions,
Sonic is gone, Amy, and Tails has just lost it.
but in the next scene, it just shows him exactly the same the last time we saw it. No change in motion at all either. Like, he couldn't even show him sad or depressed or something. And Knuckles being the commander of the Resistance is a neat idea. It's not a bad idea. I actually kind of like it. But then it's immediately shat on when he comes up with an attack in like a few minutes, and then it results in...
Stay calm. What you're seeing isn't real.
It's no use. Our troops are scattering in the confusion. This is bad. Our forces were all gathered together, and now they're plunged into chaos.
So, another waste opportunity. And the returning characters, not only do some of them make no sense, like Silver, but as I said before, they do literally nothing. And when they do something, it's related to being shown via text or exposition. They might as well just not even exist in this game at that point. Like, why even have them? They're just robots at this point. And the villains, man, what a disappointment. First of all, the villain selection makes little sense. Even if they're just illusions, like Shadow and Metal, sure, Shadow being seen as supposedly going to a dark side, okay, I can buy that. And Metal as well, Metal, so I have no complaints. But Chaos, what possible reason could he have to come back and fight against Sonic no less, who freed him? And Zavok.
You serious?
An Infinite, man, what a waste. You could have kept the whole part about him being a mercenary, got the powers of the Ruby from Eggman, but instead he's just some edgy dude whose whole motivation for going against the heroes is, Shadow beat me and I'm mad. Seriously, he just throws a tantrum and then boom, villain. Doesn't help that Sonic will constantly spout stuff about friendship to Infinite whenever they meet. At least you have one line in Heroes you could just look past it and roll your eyes, but here it just comes off as pointless, like every time he does it. Like, yes, tell the big bad villain about friendship, that'll change him.
You can't beat me, I'll stop you with the super awesome power of determination.
I have a gun.
What?
Now, if I had to fix Infinite, I would...
What the bloody hell?
Lastly, a thing I really hate about this game is that it will imply serious shit has gone down, but never actually show it. Like when Knuckles says Sonic was fucking tortured for 6 months, but then he looks perfectly fine in the cutscene after. And when Eggman finally beats Sonic, what do we see after that? White text on a black background. Eggman finally beats Sonic and we get white text on a black background. You couldn't even show him taking over the town. What is this, a YouTube video from the 2000s? And let's not forget how Green Hill is already being destroyed when you start the game, and then supposedly 6 months later it looks exactly the same with the Avatar and Classic Sonic. Ugh. So originally I wanted to cover the Japanese script here and then compare it to the English script just to see what changed, but YouTube sucks. So until someone can re-upload our translations, or until I feel like it, I'll just wait until then to cover this topic. But regardless, this is a fun video to do, even if it was painful to intro all of the awful dialogue past colors. Can you imagine if I had to cover the spin-off games like Team Sonic Racing?
Oh, epic stunt fail!
Yeah, that's what I thought. Now look, it may seem like I hate Sonic, and I don't. I just want to see the plots and games actually make a good direction for once. The Adventure era and even the 4Kids era show that you can make serious plots work in a Sonic game. You don't need to dumb down the plot just to cater to the children. You can even make lighthearted plots without coming off as annoying, like Heroes. Hell, the comics are a great showcase for what Sonic writing should be. Sonic shouldn't have to be dumbed down to a high school jock just for that. Thankfully, it seems the gods have answered my prayers and the wishes are coming through because Ian Flynn, the comic writer for later Archie and IDW, is writing the next Sonic game, Sonic Frontiers. Now keep in mind, I know I have been negative for a lot of this video, but keep in mind again that this is just my personal opinions. I know it's obvious, but in a Sonic video, I have to state this. You can like the meta era writing if you want. Hell, you can like the jokes if you want. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean you can't. I don't make the rules, do I? In the end, having different opinions makes us people. So if you personally like the writing in these games, then by all means, go ahead. I'm not stopping you. But with that, before I leave, I just have one last important message to say. Sega, please don't fuck up Sonic Frontiers.